fakes, or is this?
Yeah, we'll get you on here. I'm talking to Warren Brown, who is a member of the 1962 team back for the reunion. Warren, how were you recruited to K-State by Tex Winter?
Well, actually, not very hard. Not very hard. I was heavily recruited by Missouri and would have gone there since I'm from Missouri, but they showed Tex showed some interest, and my sister drove me out for a visit, and I think he offered me a partial scholarship. And by the time I showed up for enrollment, some more money I guess had cleared, so I got a full scholarship. But I was willing to pay whatever I had to just to go to K-State and play for Tex, because as you know, at that time that was the Boozer, Parr before me, you know, Boozer, Parr, Matusak and those guys, and they beat KU and they had Chamberlain. God, I would have paid the whole bill to go there, I think.
Yeah, well, I hear that we always joke about Texas recollection and names. I hear that you had a name on the team for. He called you, is it Richard?
He called me Richard. Well, you know, everybody knows K-State basketball about that. Everyone knows Richard Avey because he was one of Texas. We used to say he was one of Texas' favorites, and you could understand why. He's a great person, really good player. So he was better than I was, and I didn't get to make the first trip or two, but then we had a game at home against Indiana, and they had a big kid named Walt Bellamy who went on and played in the pros for a long time. And we were losing at home. I got to dress out because it wasn't a road trip. And so about 20 seconds left in the game, or 45 seconds left, something like that. He stole the ball. Bellamy stole the ball, dribbled the length of the court, and laid it up, and now we're down by 8 or 10, I can't remember, something like that. And Tex, no one on the K-State team was even close to catching Bellamy. He dribbled the full length of the court, and he was 6'10" or something, you know, really slow. And that just sent Tex into a, you know, he couldn't put up with lack of effort. So he jumps up, you know, the floor was raised. He jumps up and kind of catches his foot, which everybody used to joke about, and he goes clear at the end of the bench where I'd been happily spending time for all but 45 seconds of the game. And he looked right at me and he said, "Richard." So I'm not Richard, but I thought, what the heck, I want to get in. So he went back, and I went clear the length of the bench and sat down next to him. He put his arm around me and he said, "Richard, go in there and do a job." So I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm not Richard, and there's only about 40 seconds left in this game, and we're down by 8 or 10. I wonder what kind of job he wants Richard to do. So I go in, and the game's over, and you know, over the years I've thought about that situation a lot. And Warren, when they put him in with about 30 seconds to go, you know, as humble as I can be, Warren did a hell of a job. But Richard must not have, because we lost by the same amount as when he put Richard or Warren in the game. And I never forget that. So we went, whenever Lon Kruger was a coach, and I think he organized the first Wildcat Legends.
Yeah.
And they had all the coaches back. And Gardner and Hartman and Tex, and I think Cotton Fitzsimmons.
Yeah, Cotton was back.
Yeah, and we each coached one of the teams. You know, they broke it up into eras, I guess, and split up teams. And I was on Texas team. And he went. Now this is, I don't know how long that was after we graduated. 15 or 20 years probably. A long time. He says, "Phil, you and Mike, you start at center. Phil, you start at forward." And he looked at me and he says, "And Richard, you start at guard." And I thought, it's always going to be that way.
It's got to be that way.
It's always going to be that way.
Well, that's a great story. Tell me what you did after leaving K-State. I know you worked in for the NCAA for a long time with Walter Byers, and
that was my first job after I got out of the Air Force. And I was the NCAA's first full-time investigator. They they had a guy who had the whole enforcement program, and he'd go out some, but he had a lot of other responsibilities, so they used to hire it out. So my dad, who was a Kansas City area coach, used to work the big indoor track meet. He met the guy who finally hired me at the NCAA, and that's how I got that job. And I was there about 12 years, something like that.
I bet that was quite an interesting job when you had to come in and be the enforcer. And
well, it was until I got K-State got involved, and it wasn't so much fun back in the Vince Gibson years. But
oh, guys,
yeah, they didn't always like to see me coming. In fact, Walter Byers, who first and long-time executive director, used to call me Sunshine because no one ever liked to see me coming.
So tell me what you're doing now. You're back in Lee Summit, where you
I am.
grew
Well,
up.
I'm back in. I took a job with USA Basketball, which is a sports national governing body with the Olympic program, and I retired after the Sydney Olympics, and I just stayed in Colorado Springs where they're housed. But we kept our home all along in Lakewood River, Kansas, so we winter in Kansas.
Winter in Kansas,
go out
yeah.
there in Colorado Springs.
What was it like with the Olympic basketball? You arranged for special.
Well, USA Basketball selects and funds and supports any national team, men or women, man or woman that represents the United States as a country. So the Olympic teams, the Pan Am teams, the World Championship teams, junior, senior, girls or men or women, that's what USA Basketball does. So they select the players and coaches, and then go out and get the money to fund them, and of course logistically support them during the trips. And I was a treasurer of USA Basketball when they selected. Actually, I was on the selection committee too. The first team that had professional players, which everybody called the Dream Team, which is really the only dream team we ever had, even though they put that tag for marketing purposes on a lot of subsequent teams. But so I was a treasurer then and became the executive director designate just right before the Barcelona Olympics, and I went then right after the Olympics I became the executive director, so that was back in 1992, I think.
Okay.
I retired after the Sydney Olympics in 2000.
Well, welcome back, and I'm talking to Warren Brown from the 1962 team here for their 50th reunion, and I hope you enjoy
50 years, Larry.
Enjoy the game. You've got a great bunch of guys. What I noticed is the camaraderie still exists today, which is just amazing after 50 years. A very close-knit group.
Well, it was, and Tex, would breed that kind of situation. He got good kids, and kids have stuck together, I think, just kind of the type of people that he brought in all the time.
Yeah,
it's easy to have camaraderie when you have a good leader.
Okay, well, thank you.
Sure, thank you, Larry.